Hello, vinyl community. Mike from Mike Guitar Player 07 here, coming at you live from the Funk Cafe. I'm taking over the Funk Cafe. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. I'm here with the one and only DJ Funk, the funkiest motherfucker in the VC. And I'll tell you, he is only at 53 subs last time I saw, and he needs way more. So you better get up there, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't own this album in my hands.
Yes, you got it. Yes, that Isley Brothers.
Damn, this thing cooks. And you know, what's great about DJ Funk is he's got your back. I mean, a lot of us here in the VC do, but something that DJ Funk did for me, and I've talked about this on my channel before, but I'm going to say it again and thank him face to face here. DJ Funk, when he learned that I want to expand my horizon more with funk and soul and R&B and all this stuff that he specializes in, he knows a lot about a lot of music, just as a lot of us here, but that's his specialty and that's what he talks about and is most passionate about. Well, he made his own video dedicated to me just about it. That's how I became in love with the Isley Brothers and got that. That's the only one I have in my collection at the moment, but I will be getting more. So I have DJ Funk to thank for that. That's the kind of guy this guy is. So if you don't know who DJ Funk is, he will be linked down below, and you got to get that subscriber count for him up from 53 to 103.
Yes, thank you. Man, with an introduction like that, I don't know what else to say. I appreciate it. Yes, you and the Vinyl Guru, y'all I mean, it's like every time I put a video up, y'all like the first ones clicking. And Miss Lady Soul, I mean, y'all three are just constantly watching my videos, and I appreciate that.
I'm very glad to do it. So the premise of today's video is to show and help each other out more, because due to the fact that DJ Funk has helped me out with my funk and soul here a little bit, and as you saw, Miss Lady Soul sent me some Baby Huey and Mother's Finest in a VCLT, which is fantastic. Loved both of those albums. Well, on a similar notion to helping each other out, DJ Funk knows that I'm still wanting to get further into the funk, R&B, and all that stuff, and I know that DJ Funk is trying to get to know more modern artists. Now, my modern artists, they've been around for a little bit, but they're still putting out stuff, and some of this stuff is brand new, some of it is a year old, some of it's within the 2010s, but, you know, newer than what we usually talk about. We're talking about stuff in disco in the 70s and all at 80s. More modern for him, and he's got the funk and soul for me. So, we both chose 3 albums and 3 artists, even though the one band I pulled out a little bit more because there's lineup changes, and I'll get to that when I get to that band. But DJ Funk is a guest, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the first band-album I get to experience in the Funk Cafe. Officially, I am in the Funk Cafe.
Okay, so I'm first. All right, now I'm doing a little different take here. I actually picked 3 albums of bands that's not well known.
Okay.
And I'm gonna explain why. Okay. Well, my first one is this band, Roddick Storm. This is a fantastic album. Okay. This album dropped in '86. And I think if it would have dropped earlier, they would have been well known. The reason why, if you look at this guy, then you look at the band, don't it kind of put you in mind of Prince and the Revolution?
Yes, very much
That's
so.
why I say that. Now, they were on a major label. They were on Epic, okay? But by that time, Prince was running the 80s. You know, Purple Rain, 1990, he was just running everything. So Prince had a lot of other bands that were just rocking it too. I mean, he had The Time, you know, he had Vanity Six, Shirley E. It just went on and on. And then, especially when Terry Lewis went out, and then The Time broke up and started doing solo projects, and Morris Day was doing his projects, Jesse Johnson was doing his. It was just so much of that Minneapolis sound. And this band sounds just like it has that Minneapolis sound. It's almost like you saying they was a big part of that, but they came to me a little late, and that's why they didn't get the recognition that they should have got. Because this is a great album. It really is. Every song is killer. You know, they got a slow song on here called "I'll Save You from the World." One of the most beautiful slow songs. If only people would have got out back then, a lot of people would have fell in love with it. But it just goes to show you that you can be really good, have a great album, but just get overshadowed because it's just so much the same sound out there. And then people just started picking and choosing. And by Prince being the leader of all the other groups. And a lot of people don't realize too, Janet Jackson, she's never included in that. But Janet Jackson's whole, I would say, rebirth, because she had 2 solo albums that was out before Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis got to her, you know. But so once Terry Lewis, Jimmy Jam got to Janet Jackson, her whole sound was Minneapolis as well. So, because that was Terry Lewis, Jimmy Jam from the Prince camp. So, they didn't have a chance. They didn't have a chance at all. So, that's why I picked, this is a great album. If you see it, snag it. It's not expensive at all. I mean, I think I picked this up years ago, I think for $2.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's a great, every song on here is great. You know, this is an A to B play. And that's why I picked this album, because if you see it laying around, it's not going to be for much, and you will be taking home a great album. And I picked it just to let you know that it's a lot of great music out there, just not well known.
Okay. Fantastic. Yeah. And that happens a lot, even with today's age, too. With the digital age, now there's so much music out there, we can't even consume it all.
Right. Yeah. And like I said, just stumbled onto this. And it's a promo, too. And he just had it in one of the, you know, I hate to say this, though, about music. But, of course, you know, they had the sign over it that said cheapo band, you know. So it was in a cheapo. But I hate that saying, because I don't think no music is cheapo. You either like it or you don't.
Right.
So this is Erotic Storm. The album's called In the Beginning.
Okay.
Yeah. In the Beginning. It's in small letters right there. That's the name of the album. And the group is Erotic Storm. Cool. And it's a great album. So this is my first pick.
Cool. Now, you mentioned Janet Jackson. Is that when those producers from Prince got to her? Is that the time where albums like Control and Rhythm Nation came out, or was that before?
It started with Control.
Okay.
Yes, it started with Control, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. Prince didn't get to Janet. But I tell you what, the first person that got to Janet, did a song or two on her first album, was Jesse Johnson from the time.
Okay. He
actually, because he was, when he did his solo career, he went to A&M Records, and Janet was already there at A&M Records. Okay. So Jesse Johnson worked with Janet Jackson first, before Terry Lewis and Jimmy Jam. And it makes me think that I wonder if Jesse Johnson would have stayed with Janet, with Terry Lewis and Jimmy Jam had a chance at her. But at the time, I believe the reason that didn't happen, because Jesse Johnson was really trying to get his own solo career off. Okay. And then that's when he came out with his album, Jesse Johnson Review, which was, that was another album that was great, and it had great success. And he was really trying to run his solo career. He was on the same label with Janet. But but Jesse Johnson, he wouldn't have been a perfect fit for Janet Jackson, because Jesse Johnson, he is more rock driven, more guitar. So he's more of a rock. And Janet Jackson, I think her voice is a little too soft for him. Even though she did a great job on Black Cat, you know, that was kind of like a rock tune though. But Jesse Johnson, he's really the rocker of the band.
Okay.
But it would have been interesting. if Jesse Johnson just would have said, "I'm going to work with you, Janet," and I wonder would that would have blocked Terry Lewis and Jimmy Jam.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So my first pick for you is an artist, and this individual is also an actress. She was most well known for her work on Disney Channel. She was in Barney in the early 2000s, some like that child TV show with the purple dinosaur. However, most people know her for starting off her career. That was her first real big claim to fame, was her part in the Disney TV show The Wizards of Waverly Place. Now, even though that is one of those TV shows back in Disney's early 2000s days that I personally have not seen yet, I do have Disney Plus, and I want to go back and see that because I enjoy this actor so much and this musician so much. Now, she had a band called The Scene before she went solo, but we're talking about Selena Gomez here.
I saw that album at the store.
Now, this is her solo career. She had a band I believe in 2009 the group started, and I believe the band disbanded in 2012 with The Scene. And they had 3 albums then. Kiss and Tell and A Year Without Rain were the 2 big ones. There was another one, I believe it was called The Sun Goes Down or When the Sun Goes Down. Haven't heard that album, but the first 2 I did hear and I did enjoy it. And this is her second solo album. The first one was Stars Dance, which is not one I've heard yet, but this is her second one called Revival. And then January of 2020, this past couple months, a month ago or so, released an album, Rare. And I'd go as far to say Rare is one of the best pop albums of 2020 so far. We are recording this video in July of 2020. As of mid-July 2020, I think that Rare by Selena Gomez is one of the best pop albums that come out so far. But, 2020 has been a fairly good year for pop music, in my opinion. Now, this is one of my new arrivals. It's still in the shrink wrap. It hasn't even been opened yet. This is, as of the time of this recording, it hasn't been featured on my channel, but maybe it will have been by this time this video gets uploaded. Don't know. But Selena Gomez, she is just one of those great pop artists. I mean, she's great to look at too, of course. But
yes.
Especially this album cover. I mean, you go to look at the stuff that she did with The Scene in 2009 through now. And then you pull out this album, and you're like, excuse me, I mean, whoa, I mean, puberty, and then half naked. As a heterosexual, I don't mind that, but I'm also not a pig either, but you know what I mean. So, and then her album, Rare, she's not like this at all. It's just like a white backdrop with half her head showing. But anyway, this girl, even though she's been around for a while, is still fairly new with her solo career. As I said, this album was, actually I didn't say this yet, but this was for her 2015 release. And this girl has a 3-octave range. It's fantastic. It's like dance pop, synth pop, EDM-esque at times. I'm not sure about this album specifically, but I know that there are some albums, because it's been a while since I've heard this album.
Uh-huh.
It's still sealed, as I said already. But I remember loving this back when it came out. And some of her albums, as I said, I can't remember if it was this one or not, have some disco influences, which is really cool. Now.
Okay, now, you said, what about, you know what? I thought you was going to pull out, when I first seen it, I thought it was going to be Ariana Grande.
Oh, Ariana Grande. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's what I thought at first. And then he said Selena Gomez.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I think you would like Selena Gomez a little bit more than Ari. I mean, you'll probably like early Ariana Grande solo career, but the modern stuff, I'm not sure how much you would enjoy. I think you'd enjoy this more.
Oh, okay. So she has a more mature sound, you're saying, maybe?
I guess you could say it like that, yeah. Especially with her album Rare. I don't have any copy of that yet. I've only streamed it, but that is some of the most mature lyrics I've ever heard from her. And it is mind-blowing. It comes from deep within herself, and it's just great. But what's great about this album is, if there's any Christina Aguilera fans out there, well, that is one of her big influences. And she was credited to saying that Christina Aguilera's, I believe it was 2002 this album came out, her album Stripped, it had the hit song Beautiful by Christina Aguilera on it. She says that that album inspired some of the sounds of this album, which is kind of cool. which is one of her biggest influences. Bruno Mars, Taylor Swift, were a couple others that really inspired her. But Christina Aguilera with this album, I can see the influence. This album was debuted at #1, and rightfully so. It's killer. And, you know, the singles off this album were Killin' With Kindness, Hands to Myself, and Same Old Love. You couldn't really get away from those songs in the summer and spring of 2015. Man, are they good. And they are some of those hit songs that are overplayed, but I didn't get sick of them, which is not something you can say about a lot of those overplayed songs.
Yeah.
My pick for you is Selena Gomez. This is her album, Revival.
Well, as two heterosexual men, that is a nice couple.
I would have to agree with you there.
Oh, boy.
All right.
So, what, me?
That's you next. We're going to go back and forth.
Okay. I'm sticking with the same thing. Bands that should have been big. But what? My next is this band here, Men's Theory.
Okay.
Just Before Dawn. This is one funky album.
Ooh.
This A to B, not but just straight funk. And these guys, they open. One thing I like about this album too, I can read the back of it to get like the liner notes. You ain't got to open it up. Okay. But these guys, you know, you had to be good and special. These guys were opening acts for the OJs.
Ooh.
The OJs. They were also opening act for Roy Ayers.
Okay.
Another great. The open act for BT Express was another great funk band.
And they don't get enough recognition. BT Express not get talked about. And they should.
Yeah. And last but not least, they even opened up for Herbie Hancock.
Ooh, okay.
We were opening up for greats. But yet, you don't hear that name. Nobody knows this group. And this album is so funky. It came out in '77, and they were on a good label. They were on MCA label. And this is just one of those. I mean, look at those cats. You can tell just that picture, they look like business.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And this is one funky album. And just let you know who they opened up for. And those are people always sold out arenas. So if they're opening up for them, and still, when he came out, nobody, basically, you just never heard of him. And like I said, this was another, because I never heard of him until I found this record. I mean, this was just, a record find. Just like Roddick Storm, the same thing. That's why I pulled this one as well. This was just out, crate digging, in a crate. I love the cover. We talked earlier off camera about, picking out records just because of the cover.
Right.
This is one of them. And man, just like a Roddick Storm, got him home, dropped that needle, A to B. Just a great funky album. So if you ever see this, pick it up. I mean, and these cats are from, I believe I read Baltimore.
Okay.
Yeah, from Baltimore. And, the OJs, they're also from Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay.
So, they're not too far apart from each other. But just a great album. And just like we talked about earlier, just be around a lot of great people and still just don't get that kick to be, big like the rest of the people that you're hanging around.
Mm-hmm.
But if you see this album, Mike, grab it. I think I picked this up for about $3.
Awesome.
Yeah, just $3. You know, I always go to the used before I go to the new.
Same.
Yeah, I always go to the used section of the record store, flip through, and by the time I get to the new, I pretty much have a nice little pile of used. And I might end up having just enough money to buy a new record, but you know, because I bought so much of the used. But great album, 1977, MCA Records, and it's funky from A to B. It's just a great album, and it just goes to show you that they were around great people that are household names, and you never heard of them. And like I said, I never heard of them until I found this in a record store.
Wow.
So that's my number 2.
Fantastic.
You know, and I guess I'm showing them because, you know, if you don't know them and you go into a record store, you just look at them and pass them by, but don't. If you see this one and this one, anybody that watches these videos that we do, hey, definitely, if you want great funk and R&B, you can't go wrong. So that's my second one, Man's Theory.
Awesome. And they were for the OJs. That made me think. I love the OJs, but I don't have any of their albums in my collection, and I need to fix that.
Yeah, we're going to fix it for you. I told you, we talked earlier. I'm going to hook you up.
I'm gonna be getting all sorts of. I'm gonna be getting some War. I'm gonna be getting some OJs. I'm gonna be getting some Tina Marie. I'm gonna be getting some Ross. I'm gonna be getting all sorts of funky stuff, and I'm pumped. I look forward to when that happens. We'll exchange that information when the time comes later tonight.
Yeah. Tina Marie, that was my girl. I mean, you know, her and Rick James, they were my favorites.
You're the reason who I know who even Tina Marie is. So.
Oh, I love her to death, man. When I heard she passed, it just like broke my heart. Yeah.
Okay, so the next album I have is by a Danish pop band, Pop Soul. Now, this is Lucas Graham. Now, you'd think that that's just the name of a guy, but it's actually a 2 or 3 piece band. I can't remember how many members are in it, but this is their self-titled. Many people call this the Blue Album. And this is the album that got them in the UK and USA. In Denmark, they had another album before this. But the reason it's called the Blue Album is because this album here, this is a censored international cover. You see the boy is looking at this girl here. Now, the gatefold is what the international album cover is. Naked women in front of the city and all that. It's just this half of the album cover. What's that?
I saw that album cover, the inside on the outside in the record store.
I'll tell you, that's the international pressing of it. And
you said I should have grabbed it, huh?
Well, I recommend it the next time you go, whether it be this cover, the other cover. It's just a damn good album. But that's the reason why it's also nicknamed the Blue Album. As I said, this is from the second album in Denmark, first album internationally, and like the Selena Gomez album, this one was actually also released in 2015. And that image was controversial for clear, obvious reasons. And what's cool about that album cover, though, the original one, the blue one with the full-on image without the censored guy in front of it and everything, was that painting. It was done in the 90s. I want to say 91 this painting was drawn. It's called Girl with Bottles, I believe, because there's bottles here. I said city or something like that before, but it was actually bottles, and that's my mistake there. But this painting was actually inspired by a Playboy photo from a Playboy magazine from the 1950s. Which I think that's a cool little fun fact. The back cover's cool. It has a bunch of like random photos here. And you know, the big 2 hits off this album was a song called 7 Years, which that was one of those songs that I got sick of hearing all the time. I loved it, and then I got sick of it. Now I could listen to it again. And then the other one was Mama Said. Mama Said was great. They kind of take, I don't know if they did this intentionally or it was just a coincidence, but Mama Said, if anybody out there knows the musical Annie and the song Hard Knock Life, you'll definitely recognize some of that Hard Knock Life from Annie vibes in the tune Mama Said in that hit. Another song that I think ended up becoming a single but not as popular is a song called Drunk in the Morning, which is great too. I'll tell you, I love this album, but I can't listen to it often. And it's not because it's not good or I don't enjoy it, but the lyrics are so powerful that it's mentally draining because it's just like takes so much and it's so emotional. It's so jam-packed and beautiful. It's just great. And when it first came out, I didn't realize how beautiful the lyrics were until I started reading along with the lyrics on that came with this, or on my phone or whatever with the record going or whatever I did. But I'll tell you, that's some deep stuff. I knew the deepness of 7 years already, but I didn't know the deepness of a song that was not a hit on here called Happy Home. Holy crap. There's a song on here called Funeral, which is, I'll tell you, you got to listen to it yourself. The lyrical content attaches me to it, and the emotional reaction I get from it is what draws me to the sound. It's sonically amazing too, but as I grow older, the more I feel listening to an album, the more I am into it. And I'll love it for the crazy prog stuff that I love. I love it for all that fancy instrumentation too. But when you have some deep, deep lyrics like what are on this album sometimes, holy crap, it's a completely different vibe. And from the uncensored cover of this album, you might not get that vibe from it. You wouldn't necessarily think it's that deep unless you think that this woman is possibly hard drinking, maybe. But that's not how I necessarily see it, but that's a potential interpretation of it. But man, this...
Actually, I like that cover. I mean, we talked earlier about covers, and if I saw that cover would incline me to think about buying that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it kind of reminds me of like those, that Rush album, Moving Pictures kind of, and then the rest came out in the late 2000s, early 2010s. But
and I tell you what, it's funny because you said Rush, and then I can go to a R&B group, a group called Mass Production, and the album's called Masterpiece, and they were in a museum sitting and had a frame around them, and the whole band was in there posing and had the frame. So yeah, you did Rush, and that was Prague, and I did R&B dance group. But that picture frame, yeah, because you was thinking of Rush and I was thinking of funk and R&B, but it was funny how I picked out a funk and R&B album using a picture frame, and you did a Prague album.
And I'll tell you, as I said, the lyrics are killer and pop soul. I don't think it gets any more better and any more down your alley than this album here. I'll tell you.
Really?
Like
I said, I seen that name, and I seen the Blue album with that name on top of it. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, I told you I was at the record store today, and I think I seen it I tell a lie. I was there 2 days in a row, but I was there yesterday as well as today. But I saw that Blue album. It wasn't a picture frame. It was just all blue, and it was all blue, and its name was like in a pink color at the top.
Yep.
Yeah. So we talk about the same album then.
I'll tell you, if you like good lyrics, here you go. As if the pop soul wasn't enough, but the lyrics, man, it's great.
Dad, you know what? They're closed tomorrow, so I guess I gotta wait till Monday.
Yeah, as long as it says Lucas Graham, I believe that it's the same exact album we're talking about.
But you know what, though? I'll tell you what's funny. We had it in the R&B section.
I can understand why. I wouldn't personally put it there, but I can understand why it's there.
It was in the R&B section, yes. It was in a new R&B.
I've never heard anybody call it R&B, but I will not argue with someone who says that it has R&B with a modern flair to it. I would not argue that.
Yeah. Either that or he just didn't know what genre it was and made it look like R&B to him, so he dropped it in the R&B section. I don't know. I have to talk to him about it. I say, hey, I got some knowledge about that album, and you got it wrong. It need to be in the pop section. I tell him when I see him.
You would lay down the law.
Well, I had a good teacher. He just taught me. So, because I looked at it, I said, I don't know who this is. And he had an R&B section. And now he told me what it's all about. So now I can go down there like I knew. So you telling me I'm the man and tell them, yeah, I got this in the wrong section. You know, like I told you earlier, I knew these guys for like 30 years. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this. You now have my contact information outside of just my email now. So you can just text me a photo and be like, double check. This is the album, right? So.
Yeah, I would definitely do that. But can't go wrong with the name. So.
Yeah.
I mean, how many albums does he have out?
Internationally, I'm only aware of 2, but I believe that only in Denmark it's 3.
Okay.
But internationally,
well, if you only got 3, I can't mess up.
I haven't heard the one album is only in Denmark, so I haven't heard that one, and I haven't gotten the chance to hear the new one that came out 1 or 2 years ago yet. I haven't heard it truly, so I don't have an opinion on it. But if it's as good as this one, it's worth picking up.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Okay. My last one is, I picked this because this is a woman that you never hear her name. You never really hear her music unless you're really into, just buying records or CDs or whatever your pleasure may be. And Betty Davis, not the actress, the crazy, funky soul singer, Betty Davis. And that's why I picked her. It kind of go in line with the other 2. This woman was phenomenal, and this is her anthology album. I have her others, but this is like one of the ones that he put out called This Is It. And you might see the last name Davis. That's because she was married to the great Miles Davis.
Oh.
Look what Miles Davis had. Yes. She was married to Miles Davis. And a lot of people say she contributed to Miles Davis when he kind of changed his sound to that more electric-like sound.
Okay.
From the basic jazz sound when like he really went electric.
Like the funk.
And in the way he dressed and everything, he changed the way he dressed. It says he had a lot to do with that. And you could tell. And that's another thing. Now you got to figure, this woman was back like late 60s, early 70s. And now you see like Nicki Minaj, Beyonce, all those people that we look at now and think the outfits are wild and, but look at this. Yeah. This tells you that although they're doing stuff that's new to the younger generation, to an older generation, it's almost like we've seen it all before.
Right.
And it's like that we talked earlier, and I was saying that I like to know more about the newer stuff and everything. And I've been experimenting and looking in the indie section, finding these new artists and stuff like that. But you can't forget sometimes that the people that put down that roadmap to a lot of the stuff that we see today, and she's like a person that's never really mentioned. Like you hear Tina Turner more than you hear her, because I guess Tina Turner did become a lot more of a household name and got bigger. But I'm showing her because I think people just need to know who she is. She's a phenomenal artist. I mean, and she had that, like, I would be honest, I would say she was not like a great singer.
Okay.
But she was like you paid attention to her. You know, she commanded the microphone. That, you know, you just love listening to her. You know, and I have all her albums, and none of her albums ever disappointed. So this is a woman that a lot of people, if you don't know her, you should get to know her. Okay. I mean, they released a bunch of her stuff a few years back. You know, reissued a lot of her albums. And, you know, now that's what I hate about reissues too. They're just as bad as the originals. I mean, they come, then they go, and then they'll be, next time you see them, they're sky high. You know, but if you got a chance to buy any Betty Davis, I definitely recommend it. She is a phenomenal, like I said, I can say she's a phenomenal singer because I enjoy it. But when you want to look at it like she's no Whitney Houston or, you know, or Phyllis Hyman or anything like that, but she definitely fits the image with her voice. Her voice definitely fits the music that she's singing over. Okay. Yeah, and she's just a great entertainer and a great person to have in your collection. I mean, guarantee you, if you get any of her albums in your collection, nobody can tell you don't enjoy Betty Davis. So I'm showing that, just like I showed the other one. She's not a household name, but I definitely recommend this is somebody that you would love to have in your collection. Okay. And I mean, even if you can find just this record, it'd be worth it. Because like I said, this is the anthology. It's a 2-record set. Okay. You know, it's a 2-record set. And I mean, it has some of her biggest stuff on here. Shooby the Dude and Cop Helm, Funk, Nasty Girl. Nasty Girl is her most famous song. Okay. You know, and I wish I would have pulled out her Nasty Girl album. And just like when you show that cover is just wild too. I mean, her covers are just phenomenal. She's just a wild girl. And if you just can't go wrong with Betty Davis. She's just a good entertainer. I just love her. I love her, you know. And I mean, I'll put her right next to Tina Marie. Not vocally, but just the love I have for her, you know. So Betty Davis, remember that name? Not the actress, but the singer. And I guarantee you, you'll love her. And I tell you, if I find one, because I know, but I haven't been looking, but I can't remember the last time I seen a Betty Davis album in any of the stores I go to. But I keep my eye open, and if I find one, it'll be coming your way.
Fantastic. I'm greatly appreciative of that. And
yeah.
And I love Miles Davis, so the Miles Davis connection is great. And it's interesting. You're talking a lot about the album cover, her outfit. The first thing that snapped in my head when I first saw that is it reminded me, her outfit in that photo reminded me of the outfit that, I can't remember if it was Diana Ross or Donna Summer in the early 80s had an album called Why Do Fools Fall in Love?
Oh, Diana Ross. Diana Ross. Yeah, okay. You opened it up and it was like, yeah. Diana Ross never looked better.
True. But I need that album in my collection one day. That's one of my Diana Ross grails, other than a bunch of stuff that she did with the Supremes. Killer album. But yeah, it reminded me of that album cover, so.
Yeah. See, Diana Ross, I mean, those outfits been out there before. I mean, you know, so when a lot of the younger people get all excited, you know, I mean, being a American male, I'm excited with you, but you know, it's kind of like I said it all before, you know, but yeah, but can't go wrong with Betty Davis. She's just great.
Awesome. Now, my final group is a group that everybody in the VC has heard me talk about multiple times. It is one of my top 3 favorite bands of all time. Now, me and you have talked a little bit before going live here about various genres of music, how you know a lot of other stuff, and one of those genres was metal we were talking about. And I knew that before we went on because I remember one of your videos you had a topic for the video, but then you ended up going into your storage or whatever, and you were pulling out a bunch of other stuff, and you were pulling out stuff like Dio's, like albums, and a bunch of other, like Rat or something like that. I was not. I don't remember what the video was, but I remember
the Black Album Challenge by the Vinyl Guru, and I started showing a bunch of my metal and rock black albums as well. Okay.
So that was the video that I saw, and I remember that, and I was like, all right. When we discovered this challenge, I was like, this is a band that if you have not heard, I know you've heard me talk about it, but you need to get out. This is an American prog metal band. Many people call it prog rock too, but I call it prog metal, and that's Dream Theater.
You know what? I see that album, and I tell you, everybody says that album is fantastic.
I would agree. I'm biased, but I would agree.
No, everybody says it's fantastic. And I tell you another thing, it is very hard to get the rest of these stuff. I hear it's quite expensive.
The album Octavarium is probably the cheapest one to get on vinyl record. At $21. The other ones are various prices.
How much was that? You said that was $21?
This one, no. This one was, this is an FYE Brown variant exclusive, so this was around $40.
Okay.
But I got it at a discounted rate from my friend Dylan over the Record Spinner. This is another one of my new arrivals that hasn't been featured on my channel yet, as of the recording of this. Now, this is their newest album. This came out in February of 2019. The 3 singles on this were Untethered Angel, Paralyzed, and Fall Into the Light. Untethered Angel is one of my favorite Dream Theater tunes of all time. And up until this point, when they were promoting this album, they were claiming this is going to be the heaviest album they've done yet. Like, beefy guitars, all this stuff. And actually, as another album I'm going to be talking about, this is the album Train of Thought from, 2002? 2003.
Okay.
Up till this point, this was considered their heaviest album. This knocked it out of there. Even though I would say they're about equal personally, but many people claim this to be heavier. Now, it's all subjective, I guess, but I think they're just about on the same wavelength there. But I'll tell you, this is a great album. If someone wants the newer Dream Theater and wants a little bit of something more modern, I would go for this. This is great. A little bit of backstory about Dream Theater, because I haven't really gone into much of the backstory. And John Mayung, which is a bass player, Mike Portnoy, which was the original drummer of this band, and John Petrucci, who is the guitarist of the group, were all studying at Berklee College of Music. They ended up forming a band in 1985 called Majesty. They all dropped out of the college to pursue their music career. And boy, was it great that they did. Now, on their first album, that you will not easily find anywhere, I was impressed to find this on CD or vinyl record, period. When Dream and Day Unite. This is their true first album. It's not really, you don't find this on streaming services, you don't find it on anywhere. I only assume that the reason behind that is because it does not have the singer that most people consider to be with Dream Theater, because this was the only album that singer was on. The original first singer for Dream Theater was a guy named Charlie Dominici, but in the early 90s, James Labrie, which is the vocalist from 91, I want to say, till now, is who's really known. And then that's where the discography on streaming service and all that show up, with Images and Words Forward. So James Labrie is a modern vocalist, and quite frankly, the true vocalist if you're only featured on one album. The original keyboardist, which was on that album, and yeah, on Dream and Day Unite, and their next 3 releases is a guy named Kevin Moore, great keyboardist. Then for an EP called Change of Seasons, which features the original tune Change of Seasons and then a bunch of covers and a bunch of cover medleys, which is cool, but it's not something I go to regularly, rather than the title track. But on that EP and this album called Falling Into Infinity, a keyboardist by the name of Derek Sheridan is on it. And this album is ranked as one of the lowest ranking Dream Theater albums. I could understand why, but I do not rank it as low as most people do. I think this is a great album. 97, this came out my birth year, and it's just a good album. I've never been disappointed by Dream Theater, really. So many people claim this not be great, but I think there's some really great stuff on here. There's a song on here called Peruvian Skies and another song on here called Hell's Kitchen. If those two songs don't sell you on this album, okay, the album might not be for you, but I still personally enjoy it. And then from the 1999 album, Metropolis Part 2 Scenes from Memory Forward, which I intentionally didn't pull out because I talk about it so much and I've shown it millions, 3 times. The keyboardist was Jordan Rudess, which is one of my favorite modern keyboardists out there. And then, as I said, Mike Portnoy was the founding drummer of the band. Well, in 2009, when Black Clouds and Silver Linings came out, that was the final album he was on. He wanted to do his own thing, so he did. And now we have the drummer Mike Mangini in the band from 2011 forward. So you'll hear Mike Mangini drumming on this. You'll hear Jordan Rudess on this. You'll hear James Labrie on this. Those are really the only non-original, original members that are on here. But I'll tell you, it's great. Now, as I said, these are considered to be the 2 heaviest songs now, or albums. If you want a really cool instrumental tune, go to the song Stream of Consciousness on this album. I'll tell you, it's great. And if you like a good concept album, and it's actually a little bit more laid back than most Dream Theater stuff. It still has the proggy goodness, but there's a lot of ballads on it. And it's a concept album of a dystopian future where music doesn't exist, but somebody discovered, the main character of the concept album discovered a music player. They called an iPod or an MP3 player a music player in the album. That's how dystopian this future is. 2285, we're talking future here. And that's called an album called The Astonishing. Now,
oh, I like that cover.
Oh, it's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
And
oh, that would look good on a 12 by 12.
Oh, yes, it would.
Yeah.
I don't own this on vinyl. I've never actually seen this on vinyl, but I will own it on vinyl one day. I'm sure Dylan at the record.
If it was on vinyl, it'd be when year did that come out?
2016, I believe. Yes, 2016.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you.
Hard to get that.
I'm a sucker for a concept album, as you know. But if you want some of those heavy hitters on top of some ballady stuff, this is a good one. There's a song on here called 3 Days that in the middle of it has like a little ragtimey kind of vibe to it, which is so cool. There's a song on here called Brother, Can You Hear Me? And that song kind of gave me the vibe of Bring the Boys Back Home from Pink Floyd's The Wall before it goes into Comfortably Numb, as well as a little bit of Les Miserables, the Broadway show tune kind of vibes of the song, One Day More. A little bit more of a laid-back version of One Day More, and not as many people on it. But I'll tell you, there's a song here called Act of Faith, which is a very beautiful ballad. The 2 overtures for Acts 1 and Act 2 of this are great. But Dream Theater is great.
I do see that album in the store, so now, actually, it's 2 albums I see in the store. Now, I'm going to be more prompt to go get them because you showed them.
So I know this one is one of them. What's the other one that you usually see?
The Lucas Graham.
Oh, the Lucas Graham one. I thought you meant Dream Theater. I thought there was
no. It was 2. The Lucas Graham. I said I saw that, and now you showed that. I see both of them when I go. Now I'm like, oh, I might as well just snatch these without even looking at nothing else and just leave because I know I'm probably gonna pay $30 for that Dream Theater.
Yeah, for the standard edition, you'll probably pay $30, I'd imagine. And this sold, Dream Theater as a whole has sold over 12 million albums, which is great.
Now, my question about them, Are they more guitar driven or keyboard driven?
Overall, guitar. However, there is definitely some damn good key solos and then synth solos and all that stuff. Overall, it is more guitar driven. There's some key driven tunes, but mainly guitar.
Okay.
And this is one of them that I would go to for you. And, you know, if you want to get something that shows what Dream Theater is able to all encompassing, this kind of brings it to the table with both the ballads and the heavy hit and prog and all that. The only thing that's a little odd about this album is that in the concept album, there's something called Nomax, which is what these are here. And I can't remember what they do in the story. I'm still fully trying to understand the storyline of this album, if I'm being honest. But they, I believe, are what cancels out the sound or they try to anti-sound, I believe. They have some sort of weird sound effects and all that. And on the CD version, they're notated. If you can see these little darker dots, those are mini Nomax. And those are the songs where that sound effect is on it. Quite frankly, those sound effects drive me nuts. But it's not the worst thing I ever heard, but if they weren't there, I would be okay with it too. But I do understand its significance within the storyline. But yeah, this album and The Astonishing, I think, is a good starting point for you based on what I know about what you like. But I'll tell you, any Dream Theater album, with the exception of When Dreamer Day Unite, if you never hear this album, you're not going to be too disappointed. But rather than that, you can't, in my opinion, and I am slightly biased because they are one of my favorite bands, but can't really go wrong with it. But I would highly recommend Distance Over Time, which is what this one is, and The Astonishing. This album truly is astonishing.
I probably had better luck getting that one on CD, but I know I can get that on vinyl because I see it all the time.
Yeah, I pre-ordered this on CD when the pre-order came out. It's just great. I look very much so forward to knowing if you get that. Well, any of them. I look forward to knowing your thoughts.
And just like when we talked about earlier, see that cover, and that's why I always notice it because I always like, that's a cool cover, but every time I see it, I already got my mind made up where I'm going to go and buy something. But I always look at that cover when I go in the store. I see it, and I was like, that's cool. I bet that might be a pretty good damn album. Now you showed it. Yeah.
It's like a futuristic version of like something that Shakespeare would do. You know what I mean? With like that. So, and it's cool because when I saw them on this tour, this hand here was on the top of the mic stand holding the microphone. He had a custom microphone for the time part of the set, which is cool.
Huh. Yeah. So have you ever seen them live?
Yep, I've seen them on that tour.
Oh, okay. Thought you might have seen it in a video or something. Okay, you saw them live. Okay.
Oh yeah, I saw that live. It was great. They didn't play that whole album, but they played parts of it, and then they played for the 20th anniversary of Metropolis Part 2 Scenes from Memory, which is my favorite album of all time. They played that in its entirety. Life changed, I'll tell you. That's another great one. But as I said, I talk about it way too much on my channel. I would like to give people a break when it comes to Dream Theater. Give them a little bit of an extra.
Well, that's what it's all about, though. You're supposed to talk about what excites you.
Oh, I do.
So, yeah. If you talk about something that excites you, you have a boring channel. Your channel's not boring.
I'm appreciative of that. You're right.
Yeah. I think I comment on your last video how much passion you had when you was talking. Yeah, that's why I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I'm very glad to have you as a supporter and a friend, and I am always greatly appreciative of that. And I always love your stuff, and I love that you love mine. Yeah,
it's cool. Yeah, I tell you, for some reason, I just want to run and go get that other Betty Davis album, show it to you, The Nasty Girl.
Well, maybe off camera.
I don't want to break camp here.
But
I want to leave a blank spot because I got to run across to the other side over there.
Yeah, no, we can do that off camera. But anyway.
Yeah.
This has been Mike and DJ Funk, as DJ Funk always likes to do.
Yeah, always welcome here at the Funk Cafe. Yes, everyone.
All 53 of those subscribers and more after this video.
I hope.
I hope too. His link's down below. If you want to get funky, if you motherfuckers like to groove, you better go to DJ Funk.
Yes. And remember, you're always welcome here because I'm here 24/7, even when I'm asleep.
There you go. I was welcomed. You are too. So,
and I'm DJ Funk, and I guess we're out.
We're out. And I will see you in the next Final Record video. Thank you for watching.